Jose Lopez, Executive Vice President Operations for Nestle. You mentioned in your presentation, you said a couple of times that no one is responsible for planet Earth's balance sheet. What exactly did you mean?
I was trying to draw a parallel with the way we measure success in running a company. Every year in a company, we look through our budgets and we have two sets of books or accounts. One that, in a way, determines how efficient we are transforming cash into profit and then paying our shareholders with that. That's the profit and loss account. In there you have the cost on one side, you have the expenses, and you have the short-term investment behind brands and things like that. And the profit and loss is what you then announce at the end of the year and tell shareholders, this is the money we made, this is how much we're going to give you for every share, and we speak about that. But in fact, when we publish our accounts, you publish the profit and loss that determines the earnings per share, and you also have to publish the balance sheet state, your assets and your liabilities. And I'm kind of suggesting that while our profit and loss is the work that we do, the balance sheet represents the long-term sustainability of our company. It is by having assets above liabilities that you can sustain your current business model, or by having a level of debt that you can actually repay through your profit and loss. Now, the balance sheet is the reason why companies go bankrupt. On planet Earth, we seem to be extracting everything there is in natural capital, oil, agricultural produce, through mining, minerals and others. And I'll give you an example. If a country has a forest, it accounts for nothing in any way you measure the economic health of this country. Once you cut the forest, it actually is a positive contribution to GDP. And nothing comes on another set of accounts that says this country has now less assets and more liabilities. So I like the parallel of the planet Earth will go bankrupt because of the balance sheet, not how efficiently we're using the resources, but how much of it is there left.
As a major global player, what would Nestle like to see happen in the future?
Really, there is a need for accounting for things differently. If we don't put value behind water, water gets used and abused, waste does not get reduced. I mentioned several examples during my presentation, how simple it is to reduce the amount of water that gets pumped out of the land to irrigate. And the reason is that there is no price to it, that it is subsidized so that there is a food system that operates. But in fact, we are creating again, because of the balance sheet state, long-term liability that will end up stopping the whole business and running bankrupt this whole operation. So for us, engaging with communities, speaking at different forums, participating in the debate, and bringing solutions. I'm a great believer that what is really important is to create examples of end-to-end, where we can demonstrate that solutions do exist. I'm not suggesting that the state of knowledge, science, and technology has to stop where it is. I'm suggesting that there is enough today. That if we align all this knowledge and establish a process that takes us end-to-end, we can demonstrate solutions are available. So the job is not to find solutions, is to apply solutions, to get started and to scale up.
One of the key areas that you addressed towards the end of your presentation was that of wastage. Resolve wastage, and you're going to make major steps forward.
You know, the numbers that come behind wastage are so huge. You see, in terms of water wastage through the municipal distribution system, I think it was said this morning in UK it's 30%, in other countries can go up to 40%. I gave the example, which I like to note, being from Nestle, that the pipe wastage in France in 1 year is equivalent to 300 years of bottled water consumption in this country. The wastage in 1 year, 300 years of water consumption. So things are totally out of proportion. And again, what is the reason? There is no price. The water is subsidized. The extraction, the production, the cleaning, the recycling is subsidized, and therefore it's okay to waste. So the whole valuing of resources, and particularly of water, will have to enter the equation so that, because this is human behavior, unintended consequences. Obviously, people didn't put subsidies there so that we destroy the environment and deplete the natural capital. But that's the consequence. We know it now. So things have to change in that direction. Nestle participates not only in speaking, but also in doing at small scale. And it is, I guess, an effort that we have to increase in telling people what is that we are doing, why is it working, under what conditions, and then suggesting how we can replicate and scale up those efforts.
If you put a price on water, you as a producer are going to have to pass that price on.
Absolutely. And it is necessary that people understand. To me, this is also, and you can argue with me because I'm from the food industry, but why do people think it's okay to spend dollars on downloading data that is used almost instantaneously and lost, and it's not okay to pay for the right price of the water that goes into producing a vegetable or an apple? It is incredible to think that there is a belief that food has to come almost for free. You can live without downloading a web page, but you need to eat every day. So in terms of value of things, we have to put the equation back into another environment. Indeed, if things cost more, consumers have to pay for it. Consumers have to understand that there is no free ride. And that today, let me give you an example, which I think is characteristic of that. We produce tomatoes in the south of Spain, in one of the most water-stressed areas of the world. These tomatoes are harvested by temporary labor from Equatorial Africa. So you have African people coming to Spain to collect the tomatoes, who then, Spanish production, because we don't pay for water and we pay very cheap labor, we are able to export those tomatoes to Dakar or to Abidjan to sell them. How absurd is that? How is it possible that we think this is a process that is sustainable? And why is that like this? Because of subsidies.
Jose Lopez, thank you very much.
Thank you.